Now, a lot of folks over, A lot of folks have said they were leaving over the course of these last couple of years if Trump got elected. And once again, people assume that that's what I did, incorrectly lumped them in. So this is going to be the second time I'm clearing this up. So here's a clip of me reading the transcript of exactly what I said the first time. It was, I said, you start pointing and saying this person's a rapist and a murderer, it pisses me off. And because I've been part of when they just use blanket statements about black people, or when they use blanket statements to talk about white people or women or any other group, I don't think that's America. I don't want it to be America. Maybe it's time for me to move. Now see, if you want to be mad at me, you want to make jokes, get your facts straight. Just to be clear, I wouldn't leave this country for him to piss all over for any reason. I've been here since the late 1700s.
But you look so good.
Yeah, you know, I'm sorry to disillusion you, but, I'm not leaving the country that I was born and raised in. My family spent years trying to get the vote and trying to do all the things that we as Americans are allowed to do. We're allowed to protest. We're allowed to stand up and say we disagree. Whether we agree or not, it's okay. But you don't get to tell me that I'm going. You don't get to make that decision for me. I'm staying. Like they said in Dreamgirls. I'm staying.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We got to talk about the cackling hens on The View, okay? Because Whoopi Goldberg has been triggered by Trump, okay? Trump put out a truth basically responding to a meme, a running meme joke of Whoopi claiming that she wants to leave America and go to Canada if Trump is reelected. Now, this meme, this joke is designed to troll Whoopi because Whoopi has been triggered before in the past by this idea that she's going to leave the country if Trump is reelected. Now, this happened back in 2016 because you had a whole bunch of these woke celebrities coming out talking about how they're leaving America because the country is going to be a disaster under Trump and he's going to persecute minorities and all this other stuff, yada, 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 right? And Whoopi was one of these people that decided to dabble in the virtue signaling and went on the show and basically strongly implied that she was going to leave the country, okay? As you guys saw at the beginning of this video, that was a clip of Whoopi basically claiming that, yeah, I'm going to leave the country if Trump is elected because he says mean things about illegal immigrants, right? And I guess after that, she found out that nobody really cared. In fact, people were telling her, yeah, you can leave, right? Be our guest. Go ahead and leave, Whoopi, if you want to leave. In fact, we'll show you the door. Do you want a plane ticket? We'll buy you one too, right? You can leave, right? You can go. I don't think she got the response that she wanted, right? She didn't get the response that she wanted. I guess she thought that people were going to beg her to stay, and that didn't happen, right? That didn't happen at all. So Whoopi had to come out multiple times and basically clarify, I'm not leaving the country, okay? And last night, Trump had responded to a meme basically claiming that Whoopi is going to leave the country if he's reelected. And Trump basically was like, yeah, well, it's fine if she leaves. Nobody wants you here anyways. and Whoopi got upset, okay? And this is how she responded on the show today.
You know what I'm a little agitated about? That man had something to say to me. He saw a meme. You know who? Saw a meme that said I was leaving the country. People always see these crazy memes that I'm going to leave the country if he gets in there. Somebody else thought I was leaving, was sending suggestions for people to take my place. Look, I'm not going anywhere. Okay? And it's not for the reason, you little snowflake. It's not for the reason you think. He said nobody wanted me. Honey.
We want you, Whoopi.
Well, you know what? It wouldn't matter if no one here wanted me. Thank you. But I know where I'm going to be because I got contracts. So I'm going to be here where I'm wanted for the next couple of years. We'll be right back.
Yeah, so you can tell this really triggers Whoopi, okay? Because she legitimately thought when she initially announced that she was leaving that people were going to beg her to stay. Don't go, Whoopi. Again, and when that didn't happen, she got upset, and now she has to reiterate every chance that she gets, no, I'm staying, right? She's staying out of spite, right? Despite, again, declaring, strongly implying that, hey, I'm going to leave if Trump is elected because he says mean things about illegals. It's just so funny how that works. But anyway, we know that The View, again, they have massive Trump derangement syndrome, and some of them may think about leaving. Who knows, right? We can only hope and pray, right? Some of these cackling hens decide to pack their bags because they're gonna have to make some decisions soon. So it seems, because Trump is leading in the polls, and The View is going to react to the latest set of polls, basically showing that Trump is dominating in the swing states. So without further ado, let's get into it.
That's when it's a done deal. But you know, we have this conversation, twice a week?
Yes.
So you know the question. What do you think?
So I've got to say, I agreed with a lot of Fareed Zakaria's take, and I want to underscore, I want Trump to lose. So it's important to me 6 months out with this platform that we have to talk about some very real trends and signs that Donald Trump may be far stronger than we think he is. It may be hard for us to wrap our heads around. I personally, someone who's testified against him, has talked about how unfit. It's hard to believe that he still has as much support as he does. One thing he talked about was the economy, and I was trying to make sense of this because obviously he left office in 2020. The economy was in free fall, massive unemployment. But what I think it is I think a lot of voters attribute the pre-pandemic economy to Donald Trump. They don't blame him for the global phenomenon that was the pandemic. Joe Biden has objectively achieved a lot on the economy. He did the infrastructure package as well. He has things to brag about. But my problem is this. You did an interview with Aaron Burnett, and he said, actually, you're better off than you think you are. That's a bad message. When people's grocery prices are up by 30%, you're saying, believe me, rather than what your bank account is telling you. He's got 6 months to come up with an inspiring, forward-looking message and get out there and talk about it. And for us, I think it's important. I engage Trump voters, and I don't do it to make them feel shamed or to attack them for where they are, but to talk about what a second term could look like and how dangerous it is. I think that's how we need to be using our voices. And the campaign, the Biden campaign, just has to get more active.
Yeah, so basically what she's saying is that voters don't like the fact that it's gaslighting them on the economy, which is true. But you also know it's true, and what I don't like is the gaslighting from this woman pretending to be a conservative, openly claiming, well, I don't want Trump to win. So if you don't want Trump to win, then you want Biden to win. Biden is a progressive. So you rather see a progressive win than for Trump to win, but you call yourself a conservative. Again, these people make me sick, right? They make me so sick. Why are you cosplaying a conservative? Why are you just come out and say I'm a liberal? Just say it. That's what pisses me off about this woman. Okay? I'm so serious. The View markets this woman as if she's a voice for conservative America when she's not a conservative. There are no conservative voices on this panel. And that's fine, but don't gaslight me and try to pretend like there's one when she's straight up telling me, hey, I'm not a conservative. Again, it's amazing. But yes, Alyssa, you're right. Biden can't gaslight the country that the economy is good when it's not. That's not a good thing. But again, you can't gaslight us and pretend like you're conservative when you're not. Okay, so yeah, Biden should quit the gaslighting. You should quit the gaslighting as well, too.
Well, I would say when you say the Biden campaign has to get more active, I actually blame the media slightly. We talked last week a lot about how I don't think people are able to watch this Trump trial 24/7, like all the time. Like it's a still shot, it's a picture of a door, it's all of this stuff. Now, we're talking about we're in a campaign. We should be hearing more. We always say, why don't we hear from the Biden administration? I don't leave that all on the Biden administration's door. The media needs to cover things. For example, abortion is a winning issue for Democrats, women's reproductive health. Vice President Harris did an event last week. I couldn't find any coverage on it. And that's a Democrat's winning stance. I also think that there was an asylum regulation decided on with the border. Everyone has agreed the border's a problem. Didn't see any coverage on that because we're busy watching the Donald Trump door not opening.
And don't forget Nikki Haley. Her win. Didn't she win? Didn't she?
Oh, yeah, she
up a whole
got
lot
like 150,000.
Yeah. But I mean, then also you've
Nobody
got
heard
like
it.
last week, our incumbent president stepped in to do a speech on anti-Semitism. They cut to the speech, came back and talked about Donald Trump. So what's happening here is Donald Trump is Donald Trumping us. It's deja vu from 2016. And the coverage, the irony is the people covering that news thinks they're getting one up on Donald Trump while they're handing him a lot of votes because of the coverage.
Again, you know what's funny about this is that this is just nothing but cope. You're blaming the media for covering Trump too much and not covering the Biden administration enough in the things that Biden's saying. But the problem with this is that, one, Biden doesn't talk to the media. And the person that he's hired to actually talk to the media doesn't ever say anything during the press conferences, right? Karine Jean-Pierre says absolutely nothing when talking to the media. So there's no reason to cover her in the things that she's saying because she ain't saying shit, right? Biden doesn't do any interviews. He's the most least transparent president that we've had in a long time. But yet it's the media's fault for covering Trump too much. If they weren't covering Trump, you'd be saying, well, why are you not covering Trump more, right? If they weren't covering Trump trials and they were actually covering the Biden administration, they wouldn't have anything positive to cover. What is there positive to cover about the Biden administration? There has been nothing but ass kissing from the media, which this show is a part of the media, right? I mean, The View is a part of the mainstream liberal media. There's been nothing but ass kissing in regards to the coverage of the Biden administration. But the American people are not stupid enough to fall for the nonsense, despite, again, the glowing coverage, because their actual reality of what they're living is not good, okay? So, yes, the media coverage matters, but it doesn't matter the way that she thinks that it matters, in the sense that, well, it's the media's fault because they're not covering the Biden administration in a positive light enough. And it's like, no, well, that's actually not it. It's not possible to gaslight the American people in regards to what is happening with the Biden administration. Everybody knows that this country's in terrible shape, right? You can't slap lipstick on a pig, right? You can't do that, okay? I mean, it's still a pig. It's still a pig. People aren't going to be fooled. This is what she's arguing. But again, if the media refuse to cover Trump's trials, then all of a sudden they'll say, well, Biden's losing because the media is not covering Trump's trials enough. In fact, I will argue that the media not covering Biden is actually helping Biden. Because again, if the media actually covered Biden fairly, okay, instead of doing all the ass kissing that they do, his approval would be even lower. They're only upset with the media because the media's smear job of Trump is not working. That's the only reason they're now blaming the media, even though you should have been mad at the media for not covering Biden more fairly. Because if they had been covering Biden more fairly, he would be in much worse shape, right? Biden's actually getting help from the media. That's what's happening. Ignoring Biden actually is helping Biden. That's what's happening.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I've been saying, I agree with you. I've been saying from the beginning, I actually think this trial is somewhat helping Donald Trump because it's keeping him off the trail and because we are not focusing on the stupid stuff he says on a daily basis. And that is helping him. On Biden, look.
Bro, these people are so delusional, bro. Imagine thinking that the media doesn't cover Trump enough, right? Oh, the media is covering Trump too much. But also the media is not covering Trump enough. We're not focused enough on the stupid things that Trump is saying at his rallies or whatever, right? She's saying, but it's like, no, you literally have a whole network, MSNBC, that plays nothing but out of context statements from Trump at his rallies that the American people have realized that, hey, actually, this is propaganda. Like, for example, when Trump says that there will be a bloodbath in the economy if Biden wins, the whole country watched as MSNBC spun that into some type of violent threat, when that's clearly not what Trump meant. Bloodbath has been colloquially used as a way to describe a bad economy, but they just all of a sudden forgot about that and twisted that into, oh, well, this is a threat of violence, even though Democrats have used the term bloodbath a lot before in the past, right? And they never got that outraged by it. They also got upset when Trump talked about illegal immigrants poisoning the blood of the country. So again, they play these things that Trump says at his rallies out of context, and they blow it up to be something that is not. And they do this all the time, but Ana Navarro believes that the media is not focused enough on the stupid things Trump says on the campaign trail enough, when all they do is focus on the stuff that Trump says out of context. Again, these people are so delusional. They're so delusional. Like, they have no idea what they're talking about. They don't actually really pay attention. I don't understand. How can you be so politically connected, but yet have no clue what the hell is going on? How can you be so oblivious to what's actually happening in the media and how they cover things? It's just, it really blows my mind. I don't understand.
At first it was people saying, we don't like our choices. What else? What third candidate? Well, no third candidate, no knight in shining armor appeared. Now I'm hearing
there is a third candidate. There's RFK, right? And he's hurting Joe Biden. Again, these people are not in touch with reality. They're not in touch with what's actually going on in the political world. And this is why they're just saying dumb stuff on national television.
People say, is there a way that in the convention they can change the candidate? That's not going to happen. I'm going to say it till I'm blue in the face. I'm going to say it till the day of election. This is a binary choice. This is a binary choice America has between good and evil, between decency and havoc, between indicted in 88 counts and not. I mean, they're both old. If that's what's keeping you at night, you don't have a choice. They're both old, but only one is an alleged criminal indicted in 88 counts. If this is what you want for America, and I know there's a lot of young people who are frustrated. I was with two friends this weekend who are both Biden supporters, have kids who are 19, 20 years old and are telling me, oh, those kids, are not going to vote. Well, if you don't vote because you're issuing a protest vote, you're going to wake up the day after Election Day with a lot of remorse if Donald Trump is the president for the next 4 years.
Wow. She sounds like she's about to cry. Like, she legitimately sounds like she's about to break down in tears over the fact that it is likely that Joe Biden's going to lose, over the idea of Trump being reelected. Again, it just blows my mind because at least from 2016 to the beginning of 2020, none of the things that these people were so concerned about happened under the Trump administration. But yet they're trying to pretend like the next 4 years of Trump is going to be somehow some disaster, right? I don't think that people are going to regret not voting if Biden loses, especially on this Israel-Gaza situation, because, let's keep it real. Trump and Biden are both pro-Israel, right? They're both pro-Israel. There is not going to be a policy difference between the two of them. Okay, maybe Trump would not hold up shipments to Israel to fight the war, but Biden, he probably gonna fold, bruh. Right? He probably gonna fold. He's still pro-Israel. He's just trying to save his chance of being reelected. If the election was not so close, he wouldn't be doing that. And they all know that. So that is a wash. That's not an issue that I would be voting on, because you're probably going to get the same thing regardless of who you vote for. Because even if Biden gets a ceasefire now, it's going to be temporary. If he wins re-election, Israel is going to be allowed to do whatever they want to do, and Biden is going to be right behind it, right? Just like all the politicians. So Israel is not even it's not even an issue it's not worth voting on, because both parties are on board with that. They're both on board with the same agenda when it comes to Israel. It's not even worth voting on. So if you're going to vote and you talk about regret, domestic issues is what I'll be voting on, right? Hey, at the very least, domestically speaking, there will be a difference when it comes to Trump and Biden. And I can guarantee you will instantly regret allowing Biden to continue his domestic agenda by voting for him because orange man bad, right? And somehow, some way you think that Biden's magically going to change that situation that's going on over there in the Middle East. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. All the politicians are on board with the same agenda, right? So again, it's not even an issue worth voting on. To be quite honest with you, it's just not. It's just not.
And I'm gonna, and I know that people like me saying this to the kids doesn't work. We have to figure out a way to make it, and maybe you can talk about this. You've got kids that age. But there is not one group that these kids are protesting over that will be in a better place under Donald Trump. Whether it's climate, whether it's reproductive rights, whether it's Israel and Gaza, there is not one group that will be better under Donald Trump. All of us will be a lot worse off. So get off your butts and go vote.
That's just simply not true, right? Democrats are not doing a damn thing about climate change because that's a global issue, right? So they're not going to do anything about that. when it comes to abortion thing, that's a state issue. You're not going to get a federal ban. That has nothing to do with Trump whatsoever. And if anything, again, when it comes to his Israel-Gaza situation, I don't think that Trump would do this. But if he decides that, hey, what Israel is doing is not in America's best interest to the point where he's like, okay, we need a ceasefire or we need peace, I would actually have more reasons to believe that Trump could strong arm Netanyahu into peace than Biden, right? Again, so I'm just saying, I don't think it's going to be that much different under Trump versus Biden when it comes to this Israel situation. But if what you want is peace, right, I would actually probably go with Trump, because if Trump decides that the best thing for America is for there to be peace, then again, I would have more faith in him orchestrating that than Biden, right? Nobody respects Biden on the world stage, right? Every time Biden issues a warning not to do something, foreign leaders just ignore it, whether that be Putin in Ukraine, Iran attacking Israel, or Netanyahu going into Rafah. Every time Biden says don't do it, they do it anyways, right? I'm just saying that wasn't happening under Trump. Again, these people are delusional, bruh.
Look, I agree with sort of what everyone is saying. I'm concerned, like Alyssa is. You know, when you look at these stats, it's very clear that Biden is actually worse off now 6 months from the election than Obama was, and when Bill Clinton was. They had disapproval ratings that were pretty high, but his are even lower, right? So that concerns me. I also agree it's up to the American people. It's not up to the polls. And we are 6 months away. I actually do think that the criminal trial will matter, because 71% of Americans have said if he is convicted, I care about it and he should go to jail. Something like 54% of Americans have said if he is convicted, I will not vote for him.
Well,
I think
announce
that's very
that.
important.
Don't cover it 24/7. Just let us know.
But I think that's important, and I think that's why people are paying attention to the trial. But to the Gen Zers, I think the worst thing we can do is tell that generation that they're dumb, that they're misinformed, that they don't know what they're doing. Because I am raising 2 kids, and granted, it's anecdotal, it's just my house because we talk about politics at home. They are very engaged. They know the issues. They research the issues. They source the issues, and they're going to vote. They are not going to vote for Trump. They are not going to vote for a twice indicted, 4 times indicted, twice impeached loser. They are not going to vote for him because they hear their mother saying it all the time. So I think a lot of this has to do.
Yeah, so they're not researched, right? And they're also not critical thinkers or independent thinkers, which is what she's admitting here. Because if they were, then they would be voting for Trump. That's what they would be doing. But since they're not, right, we know they're not independent. We know they don't do their own research. They just listen to this woman in her Trump deranged rants. But again, you know, this idea that people are going to change their minds because of the conviction, again, I'm not sure if that's true, but it doesn't look like that's really going to happen at this point, right? It doesn't like we're going to get the opportunity to see it. It might happen with the Stormy Daniels thing. I just don't think people care enough about that trial, right, for that to really sway things too much. But hey, I don't know. I mean, to me, it's just funny how she's bringing that up, but it's like, it seems as if you're not even gonna get the chance to test that theory.
With what's going on in the home, the discussions that people are having in the home, and they need to tell their kids, you have to vote. It's your choice, but these are the choices. These are the issues.
Sonia,
And I think those conversations are happening.
Joe Biden's I've never heard Joe Biden call the young people dumb and
But his
uninformed. Other people have.
Hillary Clinton just did that. She just did that. She spoke down to them. They don't know about this. They don't know about that. That's a bad move when it comes to this generation, because when you're saying that these kids at Ivy League schools, the acceptance rate is like 4%. They've worked their entire lives. They're very smart. They're very educated. When you're saying they're dumb, they don't know what they're talking about, that's problematic. You don't talk down to this generation. You speak with this generation. And I think this generation could very well save our country.
In general, you also shouldn't shame people and how they vote. This is where I get back to, like, I try to have respect when I talk to Trump voters, as hard as it is with the frustrations I have. But knowing that people vote on a lot of issues and going to them non-judgmentally and talking about what a second term would look like, or with young people, also with the never Trumpers, don't shame them. They'll probably be with Biden, but talk about the stakes. I don't think shaming is a motivator to get people out.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't think gaslight people and pretending like the second Trump term is going to be the worst thing ever, especially when the first Trump term wasn't. I don't think that's going to work either, right? I don't think any of these things are going to work. I think these people are desperate, right? I think what you're hearing here is desperation, okay? They're out here basically begging people, vote for Biden, please, vote for Biden. It's like, well, you know, people who do independently think, who don't just listen to The View and go along with everything they say, they've already made their choice. I think a lot of people are making their choice now, and they're saying, yeah, we can't have another 4 years of Biden. All this nonsense y'all talk about in regards to trying to educate people on Trump's second term, right? Do you know what's going to happen on the Trump second term, right? It's just nonsense, because all of the fear-mongering that happened in 2016, none of that turned out to be justified when Trump actually got into office, and his presidency was a lot better than the presidency that is happening right now under Joe Biden. I think that ultimately today, that's what really matters. And unless something dramatically changes for Joe Biden, there's nothing that you can do to change what's going to happen or how people are going to vote. So, hey, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most important, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.